What's good, people? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Swish Masters podcast. We want to say thank you to our sponsor, Straight Stoner. He has new production t-shirts, executive productions, Swish Masters, as well as Farm Raised Entertainment. Check out his debut mixtape, Banging Out the Bushes. Straight Stoner, produced by yours truly, Executive Productions. Check us out and continue listening to the podcast. Like, subscribe, and share. Thanks so much. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Swish Masters podcast. I am your co-host, Zay, the executive producer.
I'm your co-host, Q the Guru. Zay, man, we got another special guest in the building.
Absolutely, man. I want to welcome to the show Seton Hall alumni, Mr. Pete Dill. Thank you for coming on, man.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate you having me. Super excited to do this with you guys. Thank you.
Awesome, man. So
thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah,
of course.
Absolutely. So, we just talk about hoops. It's all swishes. We'll basically get into some background of yours, favorite team, stuff like that. So I have to say, I'm a Heat fan. Q is an Oklahoma City fan.
Okay.
What's your favorite team?
Yeah, so you guys, those are pretty cool teams. I'm from New Jersey originally, so I'm a Knicks fan. So it's, when I was a young kid, that's right when they made it to the finals once or twice, actually, I think in 94 and then in 99, that's like the Patrick Ewing, Charlie Ward, Allen Houston, Chris Childs, love those teams. And then, after that, it's been kind of a rough 20 years, being a Knicks fan, but this year we're doing all right. I think, we got oh my gosh, I'm blanking now. Obviously we got like a pretty good squad right now. I'm kind of happy where they're going right now.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Definitely keeping up with the Knicks. I feel like as currently constructed with Randall. I'm a big fan of D Rose, Kemba Walker. Like they have a lot of potential, especially right now with the state of the East. Like I love it.
Yeah. It's RJ Barrett. That's what I was trying to think of. I was like, oh my gosh, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
RJ, he was someone that, the Knicks drafted, and there was kind of that hesitation of like, oh, missed out on Zion.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, we got RJ, but he's really been, performing really well. And I think he's kind of just like gotten progressively better the past couple years. So, with him and then kind of the veterans like D Rose, Kemba, it's a nice team. They're fun to watch. They get after it. Evan Fournier is now on the team, so he's been a big piece. They're just kind of fun. It's kind of like, all right, like this is the Garden's rocking and watching the game, so it's cool to see the Knicks kind of starting to build back.
Absolutely, man. I think I've been keeping my eyes on the Knicks for maybe the past 10 years. I'm a Heat fan. D-Wade is my favorite player, but Carmelo has always been my number 2 guy. When he went to New York, I was like, oh, it's gonna be dope. But just being in New York, being in the Garden is huge. So yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, Melo, he was great. Like I always loved Melo. I love Melo when he was on Houston. I saw Melo play at the Big East tournament in 2003. I was 13 years old. He was in his freshman year and against Georgetown and just like dominated. I loved him that year. I loved him his whole career. Obviously, OKC a little bit later. So his Knicks run, I think he was very beloved by fans. The performance sometimes fell on his shoulders, like, oh, the Knicks didn't perform because of Melo. But I always said Melo is Melo. And the idea that he's compared to like Bron or Steph or KD, like, oh, he should be winning championship after championship. You know what? Like the organization had a role to be able to put the pieces around him, and it was dysfunctional. And to blame that they didn't win championships on Melo was just silly. And so I think he left, and like people loved him though. I love Melo. I think most Knicks fans just really love Melo.
Yeah. I think when you think about the Knicks, you got to think about Phil Jackson and his role that he played. He had a lot of big expectations, being just a high caliber coach. But, not all great coaches are great GMs. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Michael Jordan. I'm just saying it's getting a little bit better right now, though. I'm at the prospects of the Hornets right now. But I think that was very surprising with Phil Jackson. I think the one good thing he did there was drafting Kristaps. I think other than that, it's been kind of a miss, really. Yeah. But they're on the right track now.
I agree. And it's like for Kristaps was a great pick, and I understand why they got rid of him, because he was still very, I think it was 2 years ago they got rid of him.
Yeah,
it's
2 or 3.
Yeah, and he was, and they traded him, right?
Yeah, Kristaps wasn't happy anymore.
They got some good, potential, at least, something in return, as opposed to him signing somewhere else. And for a team like the Knicks, Kristaps, was he going to sign a 10-year contract, a 7-year contract? I don't know if he was. So I kind of understand why the Knicks were like, let's get something for him before he bounces. So, yeah.
Right. I think the injury was also key as well, because you don't know if he's one of those players that get injured a lot. So rather just trade him right there, help him get more assets back. But I want to talk to you about your time in college. Can you tell us more about your time playing for your school?
Yeah, absolutely. So I went to Seton Hall University, and I was a walk-on there, which is kind of like, I'll say it's like every gym hero's dream. You know what I mean? Like, you're in the gym, you're a freshman, you're like, man, I could walk on this team. I think I could do it. I just need a shot. And I think for me, I was a junior. End of my sophomore year, our coach got fired. I had no really opportunity to walk on. I didn't really think about it the first 2 years too much. And then we got a new coach, Kevin Willard, and they're kind of cleaning shop. All right, we're on a new era. And again, I was a gym class hero at school, and their murals and stuff. Oh yeah, I could do this, I just need a shot. Yeah. So came into the, basically the right before my junior year, they had tryouts, the preseason, and they had a couple day tryouts, maybe 3 days of everything, drills, training, pickup, and was lucky enough to kind of get a shot. And so I, there was maybe 40 guys who tried to walk on. I was the only one they picked, and it was kind of a dream for me, because I grew up in New Jersey, and I was a Seton Hall fan, a basketball fan. And so I said, I remember going to games. They used to play at called the Continental Airlines Arena. Continent's they're not even an airline anymore. I think they got bought out by United or someone. They're not even an airline. So I used to go see games at the Continental Airlines Arena. And, we bring in flag, go Seton Hall. Shaheen Holloway, who ended up being one of my assistant coaches. And, so I went from the top row, we would get nosebleed tickets, for whatever, day of, and then kind of go from the last row down to on the court, on the bench in the first row. It was cool. It was kind of like a dream come true for me. And I went to a tiny little school in high school, and I actually we didn't have any sports. So I played in traveling leagues growing up, obviously rec leagues, but then traveling clubs. And then I went to this high school, didn't really have any sports, tiny. And, it was always I wanted a shot to play something. I played in some competitive leagues, COAO leagues in high school, and had a lot of fun with that. But kind of going to college, it's kind of evaluating, well, how good am I? And I'd love to maybe walk on. And so to have the opportunity to then achieve this goal, achieve this dream, was awesome. It was amazing, and it was such kind of a dream come true. And what's crazy too is when I first walked on, it was the first year, there's a lot going on, a lot of moving pieces, and the coaches were hey man, okay, so you're gonna be our walk on, but we need to get you to you need to play with the guys. We need to see if you can really do this. I was oh my gosh, what? So now I need to play even more, play on. I just remember being this is everything. This week of practice, this is being up in the rafters, holding up signs, this is this is it. This is the week you do it. And just like, don't think, just play. You know, I'm diving on loose balls. I'm there, clapping it up, you know? And that was everything.
Yeah. Wow. That is dope, man.
Yeah, I think it said, say your passion was clearly displayed during your time playing there. In fact, it was so displayed that you got really popular and famous from that, right? Can you tell us about that moment? You were on Sportscenter, right?
Yeah. So, you know, for me, you know, being a walk-on, it was kind of a dream of mine to be on the team and to wear the Seton Hall jersey. But then it's there, you know, you guys are good. These guys are very, very good. And so, you know, I didn't get a ton of playing time. And I think there's kind of couple ways you can take that. You know, there's one way where it's just like, oh, you know, whatever. Oh, the coach doesn't like me. You know, my knee hurts. You know, next year I'm going to get it. You know, kind of like I don't know, you kind of just think of any reason you're not playing. Not because these guys maybe just are better at you. You know, maybe not because then for me, you know, I played hard in practice, got, you know, a little bit of playing time in the games, but I knew that my attitude, whether I'm the best player on the court or the last guy on the bench, my attitude needs to stay the same, positive, like upbeat. So I knew that. So I kind of lived that out. And, you know, in practice and stuff, you know, I'd always be pumping it up, you know, like just having fun, getting guys like staying loose, and also just like cheering on teammates. Like I think being part of a team is fun. And so I try to live that out every day. So, you know, as we were good my senior year, and I just, you know, I would like maybe do some fun like celebrations on the bench. And then one game we played like a top 10 UConn team. And, you know, they were really good. They had just won the national championship the year before. They came to our place. And, you know, for me, we started playing them. We started beating them. And, you know, I was getting hyped. So I'm over here, you know, like doing moves and just kind of having fun with it. Kind of do a couple big hammer swings because we were beating them. Read my 10, 15, 20. I'm like, let's drop the hammer on them. Let's just drop the hammer on them. And I'm just doing that because of me. Like, I'm just like, oh, wow. Like, I think it's fun. I think it's funny. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, we win. You know, okay, we win. Go home. I wake up next morning. I'm going to class and people are just texting me. They're like crazy. Like, dude, they are featuring you on Sportscenter. And I'm like, huh? Like, what? And like they have this feature of me and graphics and all this stuff and like the, you know, Thor's hammer and it was hilarious, man. And it kind of took off from there. I think because back then, you know, it was in 2012, beginning of 2012, and it was, you know, like kind of like a little less social media. So viral videos could kind of like have a moment. So it kind of turned into like a moment, and then we go to other places and other stadiums and people like, yo, what's up? Like Dill, like the hammer Dill, like they would write articles and stuff, kind of talking about positivity and all these things. And I was just being me. I was just having fun. Like, you know, I was just trying to have fun with it. And like people kind of, I think, really recognized that attitude, Kyle said, that kind of winning attitude, and took off from there.
Man, yeah, it's clear you're so passionate about just being part of the team, like you said, and that passion really has a role. And I feel like that's really underrated. You know, that role, even though no matter how many minutes you play, you're still part of the team, and your attitude can really have an impact on your squad. And you have a great story and an example of just how positive impact can lead to just really great winning.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It's like like I've said it, like your attitude has to stay the same no matter how much playing time you get, and that carries on into other parts of life. That carries on into post-grad, in the world, the professional world. It's like trying to do a good job and being positive and like being part of a team and making the team rise, not just me. That counts for something, and people like that. Right.
My dad told me a famous saying. He said that you can control what you can control. So no matter what happens to you, you have the control. You have the ability to react to it. You know, this is my dream to play for this school. I want to play here, but I'm not playing as much as I would like to. You know, and that can definitely be devastating for someone who, you know, is passionate about that. Or it could be like you said in your example, that's a great one. I'm enjoy every moment of it. I'm do all that I can, and you know, something even more positive came out of that. So I think that's a great story and an example of us and our actions into, we have a choice in how we react.
Yeah.
So I think that's an awesome story, man. Thanks for sharing all that.
Of course, man.
Yeah, man, that is amazing. Just the background of this story, just growing up, being a Seton Hall fan, and then being one of 40 guys to make the team, and just like you said, the power of positivity. The fact that you didn't take it like, oh, coach whatever benched me because whatever reason, but I'm here. I'm going to bring that energy every single time. I'm going to bring good vibes to the bench every time. If you look at like a lot of teams in the league now, especially like the younger guys, even if they don't get a lot of energy, the bench is always hype. And it just makes the game super fun to watch. For example, I was watching some Miami highlights and Jimmy got a steal. He got up in Tyler Hero's face, just like messing with him. Like that type of stuff is important, not only for chemistry, but for, down the line, it's going to help you to be like, oh, this guy is, going to bring that same type of energy, that same type of vibe to make us feel like, okay, we can do this. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're going against the top 10 team in UConn, we feel like we can beat them just because we feel like we can play with anybody because we have that morale about ourselves. So that's just amazing, man.
Yeah, man, I love it. And like, I agree with both what you guys are saying so much. Like, it's kind of old school, but like the name on the front of the jersey matters so much. And like, I took pride in wearing that. Like, it wasn't just the Pete Dill show. It was like, dude, I'm a Seton Hall Pirate. And like, I get to wear this jersey. And like I said, I was in the rafters. We'd have to sit under, they'd have the beams up here. Like, man, the construction crew is up there, for $3 tickets. And I wore that same jersey 10 years later. And that was important to me. And being part of a team, it's like, not only when we do well, it's like Seton Hall is doing well. And I'm a part of that. And that's how I looked at it. And I think that like being a part of something and celebrating other people's success. Like, I love celebrating other people's success because of, of an attitude that's like, hey, there's enough to go around. There's it's not just like, oh, like anyone's success hurts me. It's like, no, man, everyone's success is great. I'm going to celebrate that. So yeah, man. And this was honestly almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think because it was like that. And I get to still, celebrate that and have those moments. And it's like, yeah, man, I've carried it 10 years later. So it was an exciting time.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I feel like it's really, you go ahead, Zay.
Oh yeah. I know what you mean. Like, college went by fast. Like, me and Q went to school together and we graduated 2018. It feels like, dang, that was just yesterday, but it's been 3 years now. Well, about to be 4. But you never forget those experiences. And I know, like, just what was the hype like around you? Like, what was your initial reaction to being like, oh, I'm on Sportscenter? Like, realizing like, oh, I'm on like national TV now. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. And I think I'm blessed because I was able to really enjoy it. And the team and the school and my coaches and teammates, administration were like along for the ride. At first, the first day or two, I'm a little nervous even, like, is this like, are people going to be like, dude, like, there's no I in team or, but I remember I came in and that coach, Shaheen Holloway, who's now the head coach at St. Peter's College. He's awesome coach, awesome man. And he came in, and I walk into practice next day and like, he comes in, he just is like, hits this hammer. And he was like, dude, PD, blah, blah, blah. Like, that was amazing. That was crazy. I was like, kind of was like, okay, like people are into this. It's not just like, there's going to be this like onslaught of like me, like, hey, look at me, even though we're winning. And so, as it kind of, took off and people wanted to write articles and interviews and people were hitting up our media departments. Hey, we want to interview him, this. And it was very crazy. It was very surreal because I was like, again, like the person who I am just having fun, like resonated with people and it really resonated. People wanted to hear more, and it's like, they wanted to interview me. So I kind of just took it in stride. I always tried to keep the team first. I never was like, we said no to a lot of stuff, just like kept the team first. But, I like did interview articles, ESPN, New York Times, like some like really big media like publications. And I did know, because I was a senior, I knew it would end soon. I was like, I know pretty soon people are gonna like stop caring to an extent. You know, no one's trying to be like, hey, like, remember that thing you did 3 years ago? So I enjoyed the ride, and I knew it was funny too. I also got a Where Are They Now like a few years ago it was like the USA Today. It was like, hey, whoever, like, you know, a little Where Are They Now. I was like, man, am I getting that old? I'm already getting a Where Are They Now like type thing? Like, I'm thinking my mid-20s. So I just enjoyed it and tried to always keep the focus on the team, and people care about teams that win. You know, they're not going to do that for a team that's 3-17. They only do it when you beat a top 10 team. So, yeah, try to have fun and enjoy the rest of the season and going to the, you know, all the other schools and Big East tournament. And, you know, like I said, like I was able to play that year in the Big East tournament for a couple minutes, but I saw Melo play in that court when he was at Syracuse. And then, 9 years later, I was playing in the same court for a couple minutes, just like, you know, kind of enjoying that, savoring that moment to be like, wow, like Melo, who's, you know, a hero. I was like, I'm playing on the same court, you know, didn't score any points, but I still, you know, like was able to savor that moment. So I enjoyed it, and it kind of took off. Again, I always try to keep it on the team.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
I love that. Man,
I feel like that role is really underrated in the league right now. Because, you know, I was thinking about Zay, your team, the Heat. A very key person is you know, was Udonis. You know, he didn't probably play any really real minutes, but you know, he was there as like a really good centerpiece for the locker room, and that's really underrated. And I feel like all teams need someone like that who is just passionate about the team, you know, team first, you know, it represents the culture of that team. So I feel like that's really underrated, and it's really good to have a discussion about this as well. So put it more out there and show our appreciation for it, you know, for those guys in those roles.
Yeah, and leadership.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think leadership is, it doesn't matter how much time you're playing. Like Udonis Haslem, he's a leader on that team. You know, he was, and as his role kind of declined, he was still probably the biggest leader on all of the teams he was. And he was a leader in the community too. He does a lot of stuff in Miami, right? Like businesses and Boys and Girls Club. So it's like, that's a real leader, you know? No one looks at Udonis Haslem and says like, well, he only got 6 points a game. It's like the things he does off the court, the attitude and the man he is and integrity, that's a real leader. And that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. It does, definitely. So Pete, I want to ask you, what was your initial inspiration for basketball? I know you mentioned Melo and Syracuse, but where'd you find your love for basketball? Was it watching a certain player, supporting a certain team? What was it?
Yeah, I think for me, honestly, you know, I have 2 older brothers, and we grew up in kind of a, you know, tight-knit little community, small school, and everyone just played basketball. And so for me, I just see pictures of myself as a 3-year-old with a basketball and playing. I just remember, when I think back, it's just like already hit the ground running. I think about 6, 7, 5, and like I already remember playing and being really into it and having a passion. I think I just was born to love and play basketball, and I know that the culture around me, where it's big basketball, you know, Jersey, New York City, that area, big basketball hotbed. And so, you know, the culture around me was people love to play ball, and so I just kind of followed suit.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That leads me to my my next question. I know you're following the league right now.
Sure. So
who do you think is the favorite right now to win the finals this year, based on how it's looking? I know it's really early. I know we have a lot more to see, of course, but just early, who do you think has a shot as of right now in this moment?
Yeah, so if I had to say the favorite, I don't know if people are going to hear this, but like, I think the Warriors. I think the Warriors, the way they're playing, it's like Clay is not even back yet, and they are just like destroying teams. And I know people don't want to see the Warriors winning again and again and again, but I think if you started right now, best of 7 series, I think it's the Warriors. What do you guys
Steph
think?
is playing out his mind right now. He had dropped another 9 threes in the game. Like, he is just killing it right now. On the road to maybe another MVP this year if he keeps this up.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. And they also have James Wiseman. He's coming back as well. They have a lot of good pieces there, and it's different. So this team could potentially be better than like that original, that mini dynasty team, before KD. Like this is like something, and this is crazy.
Yeah,
especially if Clay's like even close to what he was.
Right.
Man, it's crazy.
The Warriors have been absolutely ridiculous this year. I saw a stat on Instagram earlier about they have yet to score less than 100 points in a game this year. So yeah, Steph is like, Steph's probably averaging 28. He's gonna average probably about 30, close to 30. He's definitely like the front runner for MVP. And like you guys said, like their number 2 guy isn't even back yet, and they're playing ridiculous. Another guy like for the Warriors, I'm like actually kind of surprised he's playing so well, is Andrew Wiggins. I watched some of his highlights and I was like, this is Andrew Wiggins, like, because Q knows like in the past I've kind of like been hard on Wiggins because of stuff in Minnesota. I always thought he had potential, but I was like, I don't know if he's gonna like be a dog. But he's looking like he wants this now. So they're scary.
Jordan Poole as well. He's been a breakout player this year. So they have a lot of good players over there. So shout out to the Warriors. I don't think people will be surprised with you at this point. I think it's just us as fans, just like, oh no, here we go again. We're just run through the league again. So, but we'll see. So on the other end of that, we were really expecting the Lakers to really make some noise. What do you think about the Lakers season so far? As of right now, they're under 500. What do you think about the Lakers?
I mean, it's tough. They obviously underperformed last year in 21. The 21 playoffs. Like, I think they're 8-9 right now. AD, it's like he's kind of up and down. LeBron's LeBron, but I think when you look at their roster, I don't think the Lakers roster right now is built to make a run through the playoffs. And it's not just because of age. It's not just because he's as old. I don't know if they have like the pieces offensively, defensively to be putting it together for a 3-month playoff run. Now, is there an insane amount of talent? Yes. Can they probably turn it on? I do think they're going to turn it on in the second half, and like they're going to probably be what I think maybe like the 4 seed or something. But like, is this roster built to go 30 plus games in the playoffs? I don't know. Like, I wouldn't bet on it, but it's hard to say because I love LeBron. I think I'm a LeBron guy.
Okay. I want to say that right there for a second. So who's the greatest of all time? Then,
man,
just staying right there.
This is a new tradition. We ask everybody,
whether it's LeBron or Jordan.
It could be anybody else. Who's the greatest of all time in your opinion?
I want to hear some of the crazy ones. Like I want to see someone that's gonna be like, who the best of all time was. No one ever says this. You're like, but Larry Bird. You're like, what, Larry Bird? All right. So like, I'm pretty down the middle. You know what? It's a podcast. Let's have some fun with it. I think the best player of all time is like basketball player of all time is LeBron.
Okay.
Now, do I think that like in terms of greatness, in terms of like what you've done for the game, in terms of like being a winner, it's Jordan.
Yeah.
I think it's Jordan. Like I don't think he can take the title away, especially how much Jordan did for the game. But I think if you just didn't know who it was and just did pure talent alone, I mean, Bron. I think it's Bron. I don't. What do you guys think though?
Go ahead, Q.
They might get you.
Is this a Jordan podcast?
I just play. I feel like a lot of people will probably agree with you. I think it's because we're in the time now. LeBron has literally played over like generations of players now. Yes. And as more generations come along and basketball fans are born, they're going to see LeBron.
Yes.
And they're going to say, hey, LeBron's the favorite. You see more rookies saying that LeBron's the GOAT. Yes. So I don't think that's out of the box to say that at all. And I can totally understand. by the end of his career, he's still going. It's just crazy. He could literally be number one in scoring.
Yeah.
Top 5 in assists. I don't know where he is. I'm sure he's up there. He can be like, at the end of the day, career rankings. Yeah, I think overall talent. I think I'm with you. I think LeBron has a talent, but for some reason, I think I still for myself. I think I'm still going with Jordan for right now, and the only reason why is because of some of the lapses in the finals. Now, if he gets another ring, maybe I could solidly put him there. But I feel like before his career is over, I think he'll be number one, no question, just because of career standings and everything. But right now, Jordan got it.
Yeah,
edge.
And I know people like to take like Michael Jordan has a metaphor about him. Oh, he's the Michael Jordan of ping pong. He's the Michael Jordan of NASCAR. Like, people are like, to take it away from Jordan, it's gonna be through the tightest grip ever. So I don't know if LeBron's ever gonna fully in the minds of people. I agree with you that younger players are saying LeBron's the best now, but it's like I think it'll always be 1 and 1A. Like 1 and 1A, like it'll be a split. Like Jordan, no, it's LeBron, Jordan, LeBron. And then I think, like, come on, like, is like my dad's never gonna say LeBron's better than Jordan, like never. No, Jordan, 92 Olympics, 6 rings, undefeated. Like, come on, it's gonna be Jordan every time. So, I hear what you're saying though, Q.
Yeah.
What about you, Zay? What do you think? I want to hear Zay's opinion.
Yeah. You both make good points. Don't get me wrong. I respect everything that LeBron has done in his career. I think that he has the potential to be the number one guy after he's done. Like you said, he's been going for almost 20 years. I'll say this. I think LeBron may be the greatest athlete of all time because of just age and defying gravity. Still. His body of work is it can't be denied. But for me, I think that because of the impact that Michael Jordan had, and then when you look at just the pure domination during the 90s, with going up against John Starks and Patrick Ewing, going against the Bad Boy Pistons, he had a tough road to get those 6 chips, and he didn't lose one. The thing about LeBron is that he's got 4, but he's lost 6. So it's kind of like, I feel like Michael Jordan was able to dominate in the highest of stages more so than LeBron. I think that's why I give him the edge. I think I have to say Michael because of that.
There. Now here's my counterpoint. Obviously, I've been in this conversation before. The Warriors dynasty, them playing the Jordan Bulls, like how many rings is Jordan getting if they're playing this Warriors dynasty of the mid 2010s? Like, there's no way the Bulls are beating them every single time.
All right, so stay right there. So are we doing 2010 or like are they playing back in the 90s era?
Whatever you want. Whatever.
I mean, I think that kind of matters a little bit, because if I can touch Steph up a little bit, I'm gonna tough him up a little bit. He's not going. He'll go hard going around these screens, sir.
Luke Longley.
Bruises.
Oh yeah. Dennis Rodman were like.
I think that matters a little bit. Which era are we talking about?
Yeah, we'll say the 90s era.
90s. Ooh, that's tough. Now I would say I think the Warriors can get a game or two. I don't know if they get the whole series.
What if they played 5? Like Bron played the Warriors 5 years in a row, right?
Okay, good point.
Okay, what if they played 5 years in a row? 5 finals in a row, 93 Bulls, or I'll say 96 Bulls. We'll give them the best 96 Bulls versus those Warriors. Like, what's that 5-year series looking like?
Okay, now let me be clear. Are we talking the Warriors team with KD or without KD as well?
We'll say with KD. I got these questions. I got all the scenarios.
Okay. That's tough. I think that
would be really tough, man.
Oh, I'm thinking like, okay, Scotty and Dennis could double team KD, but they got Steph and he got Clay, so it's like
they got Steph and Clay.
That's
what I was thinking about. Like you can do something with KD a little bit with Scotty and his defense. And Jordan can potentially pick up maybe Steph, but I don't know. That's tough. Can play.
Man, I'm gonna be bold. I'm gonna say 3-2 of like the years of Bulls. 3 Bulls, 3 championships for the Bulls, 2 for Warriors. I think. Oh, that'd
be a rough fight.
Man,
I think you only get 3 just because of Jordan as well. I think you just got to give him that. Philadelphia get most of it. I cannot just sit here and say that the Warriors will not get one. I can't say that at all.
with KD and Steph and Clay,
I can't say that at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
don't get me wrong. I know the hurdle LeBron went through. Like I excuse those losses. There are some losses you can't really excuse with LeBron. For example, the Mavericks. Yeah, that shouldn't have been like that. I give him his excuse for the Spurs in his first year. But I mean the first one with the Cavaliers and Spurs. I excuse you for that one. But the Mavs should have got that one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he should have got the Spurs again with the Heat. The second go round when it was a
14.
Yeah, that one. I think he should have got that one.
I was so mad.
They should have had that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was what's crazy, that was a great Spurs team. They had a young Kawhi, but then Duncan still in his prime. Tony Parker, who just low key is just like a Hall of Famer, just had 15-year amazing career. That was a good team, but they didn't look good. Like the Spurs, they had won 4-1 that year. Yeah, they dominated that year.
Yeah, it was bad.
So
it shouldn't have been like that.
I would have liked it if we went 6 or 7 games, not 5. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We got Bron, D-Wade, Bosh, Ray Allen.
And then they all split.
Yeah.
Right. And I know LeBron played the Warriors. I feel like he still could have won that first year. I know Kyrie was hurt. I think Kevin Love was hurt as well, but I feel like he was playing out of his mind. LeBron was. He still could have got Finals MVP in my opinion. Yeah, in this series, just was how he balled out. But I feel like that was still a winnable series because I don't think the Warriors were truly the Warriors. It was like after that moment, it was like they were just gone.
They figured it out.
They figured it out.
Yeah. They're like, we just got to keep shooting threes. We never miss. We got to keep doing that.
Literally.
Yeah. What do you think about the game transitioning from that? What do you think about the state of the game right now? It seems very perimeter driven right now. We see bigs more on the outside. What do you think about the game right now? Do you think it's getting too one way? Do you think there's no diversity in the game? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so I think obviously perimeter game threes are really important. I think that because of the nature of basketball, the game will never be actually fully just all threes. You'll have to have some sort of inside out game. You have to have some sort of inside presence because something that's really underrated in Steph's game, he's like an incredible dribbler and incredible finisher. And for him to be able to do that gives him the freedom for defenders to stay honest. They have to stay honest on him. And so he's able to then do what he wants, in terms of he can pull up from far, but then also get to the hole. The way that threes get open, isn't just pulling up off the dribble. It's coming from interior passes. And so to, dribble driving and then kicking out to the perimeter, that's always going to be necessary for a team. And if you look at a lot of the teams that have really, really won, even in the past 10 years, and I'm talking about having either winning championships, whether it's those, the Bron years or the Raptors or the Spurs, they actually have a lot more of a complete team and with a complete offense of an interior game that's at least present. That's you can dump it inside and then has, penetration inside to then kick it outside, trading up good threes for great threes coming from a pass. So I think that it's fun to watch. Threes are great. But when you think of something like the Hawks, Trey is going to need to add more to his game. He's going to need to have more shooters, but they're going to need to have an interior presence, because guys are going to keep coming out on him, and he's going to, like, you eventually run out of space. Like, these guys can shoot from 30 feet now, but it's like, you can't, like, shooting from 35 feet. It's like you can't eventually there's going to be physics involved where guys can't keep stepping back to shoot threes. So I think that, like, threes, I think it's fun. It makes for a fun game. And to really win, though, there needs to be more to your game and more to teams. And I think the great teams really have that, though.
Definitely.
Good point.
I know that when I was playing in school, we were taught that a step back three was like a bad shot. I think, who was it? PG, when Dame hit that crazy shot over him from 40 feet step back. Yeah. It was like, oh, that's a bad shot. And I'm like, well, it kind of is, even though he made it. But like, everyone isn't able to shoot at that level.
Yes.
And when you really look at it, like you said, the teams are complete. Even like the Warriors had Bogut down low.
Yes.
Or Steph, who, like, another one of my former coworkers, George, shout out to George in New Orleans. He said it, like you said, Steph can handle the ball. He can get to the rim. Like, if you really look at it, like one of those finals against the Cavs, he was going to the basket. He was getting layups back to back to back. Yeah. And because they're so threatened by the three, they're like pulling everybody out, so it opens up the floor. So then you just can be able to attack. And like, the mid range is so unguardable because it's really an unpredictable shot. When you think about it, with Kawhi winning in Toronto, you go dribble, you can post up, and it's not really a catch and shoot three. It's not really like a simple way to guard it. So
I agree. And when you talk about then, like, time of possession, like, okay, well, what's the time of possession? Slowing the game down, game pace, game play. Like, those things matter in the course of the season. Like, is a team able to slow the pace of the game down when they want to? Do they have a point guard that can make those decisions? Or is it just like, hey, we want you to chuck up as many threes as possible? It's like, I don't think that's a winning strategy. Threes are going to be a huge part of the game forever, especially as kids are shooting threes. But, like, all the other parts matter a lot too. And having a point guard that can control the pace of the game. I mean, again, we're talking about winning team. Fred VanVleet, like, his ability to, like, control those games, score mid-range layups, hit threes, it, like, opens everything up. To winning games. And so I think, like, it's a cool transition, seeing threes, but I think that like, there's, like, the teams that are going to be winning are going to have the entire package of how to score and defend, let alone you also have to defend in this league. So
we can look at the team that just won, the Bucks. They have that diversity in their game, Lopez as well, and then it was his name. Oh, that was really Bobby Portis, man. He was really
Bobby.
He played a great role. Giannis himself, he's not known as just a perimeter player, but he has enough and to have that interior presence.
Yeah,
that does matter. You have a good point. At the end of the day, in these championship teams, we will see that variability there. Very good point. Very good point. So we talked about your favorite team again. That's you said the Knicks, right?
Knicks, yeah.
So how you feel about the Nets right now?
Yeah, well, so actually when I was growing up, they were the New Jersey Knicks. And they were so bad though. And then they got good with Jay Kidd. But I was already a Knicks fan. But everyone kind of was like, everyone enjoyed those Jay Kidd years. Then they moved to Brooklyn, whatever, like 10 years ago or something. I think the Nets, like KD is so good that they're gonna be good. Like, over the course of the season, they're gonna stay in the top 4 of the, like, Eastern Conference. I mean, he's one of the, I don't know, I think he's one of the top 10 players ever. Like, KD is that good. But, like, again, if the playoffs come, when the defense starts getting clamped down, when teams aren't willing to give up 120 points, who else is on the Nets? Like Harden, obviously. Like, and they have a good team, but it's like, can that roster come together and just win games? on the road, win games. It's like, I don't know. All of those guys haven't. The only one that's proven it on that team is KD. You know what I mean? I love Blake Griffin, but like I love Blake. He's awesome. He's fun and he's funny. But it's like Harden. I love Harden. I love Harden's game. But it's like when it comes down to when you have that 3-month stretch of playoffs, are the Nets built to help support KD in winning a championship? Like I don't know.
Good point. And James Harden's from that team where they actually tried, winning by just a 3. You remember that experiment? What was it 2 years ago when they had Russ and they traded away their big to open up the floor? That if anything right there, that tells you that that's just not work. You have to have more to it. So I don't know. James is having a weird season this year so far. I know they changed the rules. I think that probably affected his game a little bit. He's not getting to the free throw line as much as he normally does. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah,
I would say they'll probably at least make the conference semifinals. If not, I'll say maybe make the conference final. Because I think KD's that good. I think they have the talent, but like I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna just like win it all. I don't think they can.
I mean, we saw last year. Harden was hurt. Kyrie, 2-3 games in, got hurt. So KD can only give you 50 points twice, but is that going to be enough to lift the whole team? Because he's going to get tired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He can give you buckets all day, but it's just like to carry through a whole playoff series through, like you said, 3 months of that is that's a lot to ask of one person.
Yeah, I agree. And like that's I feel like such an underrated part of the NBA playoffs is how long it is. It's an extra half a season. It's like they're playing almost 30 games if they're making it to the finals, if they're playing 5, 6, 7 games a series, and it's like intense basketball. And so after an 82 game season, it's a lot to ask. And I think sometimes like teams that are better constructed to share the load, share offensively, defensively, those teams tend to win, Yeah.
And the NBA has tried to make different alternatives to things. So what's your opinion on the play-in tournament? That adds even more games when you think about it. So what do you think about the play-in?
Yeah, I mean, like I was actually just looking at that because the Knicks are now the 7th seed, so they would be in the play-in. Knicks fans, like we've been out of the playoffs for 20 years now. It's like, oh man, we're in the play-in. Oh come on, man, getting greedy too fast. I think it's fun. I don't know. It's I go back and forth because I think it is fun, but it's like, like like the difference between a 7 seed and a 10 seed can be quite a difference, and it's like, I don't know, like not that you have to reward a team for being the 7th seed, but it's like over the course of season, if you're like 10 games better, I don't know. It's just like tough to then see a 10 seed. But then again, what makes March Madness so fun is that lower seeds can upset bigger seeds. It's like if a 10 seed then comes in one day and beats a 1 seed, that'd be crazy. Like that'd be fun. So I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of talking myself in and out of it. I was just staring out, but it's fun. I'm down to see where it goes the next couple of years.
Yeah, it looks like it's here to stay right now. Yeah. My argument was that let the 7th seed keep their spot and just do the 8 through 10, I think. Yeah. Just go from there. But because I feel like you should at least keep your spot. You fought for that spot, But I don't know. It's tough. And it could be one year where like maybe the standings are very, very close. Maybe they're all like 1 or 2, 3 games within each other.
Right.
And it could be very competitive. And I know last year it was entertaining.
Yeah.
To see.
It was.
So, I mean.
Yeah, I'm for it. Now you convinced me. Yeah, I'm actually very for it.
I'm for it. And I think the NBA is also thinking about doing some type of tournament. I don't know all the details of it yet, but I think they're just trying to get more intrigue into the regular season. Mm-hmm. I think they're offering like a tournament. I don't think it's this year, but I think it'll be next year. And it's like players are playing this tournament. I'm not sure what they get out of it. Maybe it'll be something that impacts the playoffs, but it's like a regular season something. I don't know. We'll see what the NBA does. And I like they're just trying different things though to keep the interest.
Yeah. Like in the middle of February.
Yeah,
Right.
it makes sense. You have to keep the game interesting, I thought, because of obviously with the pandemic, it was kind of like a weird stoppage. What was it, 2020? So, everybody didn't get the chance. Like they wanted it to be fair. It makes sense. The next year, it was kind of interesting. Let's keep it going. And now they're just trying to build ideas. Like I've heard about like a mid-season tournament or something. I'm not sure how it would work, but I'm not opposed to it. I think that we just have to be mindful of, like, especially like with these past 2 seasons. I feel like fatigue has played a huge part in a lot of these teams because of playing. Like, let me see, 2020. It's always like weird to think about. Like the Lakers won the 2020 championship last year. That feels like 2 years ago at this point.
That's right.
But they were playing. They had just like won the championship in October, and now it's November. So it's like everybody's getting back going, and then they were out of the playoffs in like the first or second round. Well, I know Miami was too. So it's like trying to find that balance of entertainment, but also creating what's a good word for it? Product that is reliable. You know what I mean?
Sustainable.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zay. Where it's like, you can kind of twist and turn the product as much as you want, but like at a certain point, it's just like, if a team is 11-34, it's like there's no real way to drum up interest, and like you just got to accept it. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever you got to do, support the teams that are to draft well. I don't know how to get exciting players, but it's like, you work for the Pelicans, right, Zay?
Yeah, I did some volunteer work for the Pelicans. Man, it was years ago.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, they have Zion right now, and now it's like, okay, Zion's unhappy and he wants to leave. Well, it's like, instead of trying to, I don't know, like get a young, it's like, how can you support a franchise to keep star players, to draft well? Like, what can they do to get I don't know, I don't have the answer, but it's like, what can you do to help support smaller franchises to like keep stars, keep fans' interest, without being like, all right, what if we got a 3-point contest that defined Hall of Fame votes? It's like, wait, what? Like, this is like a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I want to stay right there too, by the way. What do you think about I think one of the key things that LeBron did was enact this player empowerment movement, where it's all about the players. Players do have the authority to make decisions and decide for their career, and not rely on GMs. They can form their contract a certain way where they still have influence and control. But now we see players, for example, we saw James Harden literally forcing himself out of Houston. And now we're seeing a situation develop in Philly with Ben Simmons and his team. And like you said, potentially about Zion, right? And I feel like this could potentially disrupt the CBA for the next time they have negotiations. I feel like there might be some pushback, because a lot of these star players, they get the contract and they're trying to force themselves out, just like Ben Simmons is trying to. Yeah. So what do you think with that? How do you think that's going to play out?
Yeah. The number one way to keep stars and talent is to win. Winning is the cure-all for everything. And if you want to keep stars, you have to build teams around them to win. And what is wrong with the Sixers? Everyone's looking at the last, disaster of last year's playoffs. It's like, but they haven't, we've been promised a process. Well, like, fans can only wait so long before you need to see this at least in a finals, No one talks about the OKC. Yeah, you're OKC, Q. You're an OKC fan?
Yeah.
No one talks about OKC being a disaster with the Big Three era, because they went to finals and they won at least. And actually it was kind of a little crazy at the end, but like at least they went to a finals,
Right.
And at least back then, I think it's like the best way to keep talent and the best way to get talent on your side, to get the players on your side, is to be winning. You know what I mean? You can spin it every which way about, hey, Dame, do this, even though Dame loves Portland, apparently.
Right.
He doesn't want to leave that place, but like winning keeps people around. Now, kind of like a secondary like thing, like I think it's great that players have power to be able to decide. I think that power can be pretty it's like you can get power, but then like, is that going to leverage you to a better situation? I don't think that's necessarily always true. Like, has Russ been able to get to a better situation than 10 years ago? Like, I actually don't think so. Now, it's great that he has the power. It's great that Harden has the power, but like, what is it? Where does it lead them? I think sometimes is like, I don't know. Like, is it better trying to figure it out at the place? Like, I don't know. When it comes down to winning and losing, players having power is really cool, but then it's also like there's a lot that goes into winning championships, and like sometimes you're not always going to be in a better spot than you were before.
Good point. We saw that. Well, it could be potential this year with the Nets too. How they're looking. I mean, they're winning right now, but it's just not. It's not looking good. Same thing with the Lakers. Russ eventually got himself to the Lakers. Well, I mean, go back to the Rockets. Just get himself to the Rockets there first. That not working out. And Wizards, I don't think no one would expect anything to go on with Washington. Yeah. But now with the Lakers, you definitely have the expectation. It's not really working out right now. But I don't know. We'll see. Just because you get to the place doesn't mean you automatically get a title.
Yeah. But real quick to circle back to something you had. Something I think is really cool is that like I love that like Rich Paul is like someone that's like been put on. I know he's kind of like maybe a little controversial, but I love that he's like put on and he's like it seems like he's really on the player's side, and I think that's cool too. Like, I mean, what better way than to, if you're a superstar and you got one of your boys that's interested in the business side of it, letting him train and get knowledge and experience to be that, like, you don't tear down the walls. You don't need some guy you never heard of to be like, oh, let me take it from here. Like, get one of your friends to grow along the way with you. I think that's awesome. And I'm all for that. I'm all for guys, having their friends kind of come along and like get skills and learn skills to be part of the ecosystem of one of these NBA teams.
Gotcha.
Yeah. What was the Rich Paul's case this year with Noel?
Noel.
There was Noel.
Oh yeah. I have to like look at how that went. I know that.
I know the results of that. I gotta research that some more too.
It kind of like died down maybe a week or two after we talked about it. But yeah, Rich Paul has done good things for the game. Clutch Sports, they're huge. They have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
he's covering. So yeah.
Pete, thanks again for being on the podcast. But I have some fun questions to kind of help wrap up the session. Some fun questions. Did you see Space Jam 2?
I have not.
Oh, so I can ask you. I was going to ask you which one did you like better? Because LeBron's in that one. And I think one of the things about Jordan is I think one of the reasons we admire him so much. I didn't really watch him with the Bulls. I don't think we didn't really like grow up watching Jordan per se.
Yeah.
But the one chance we did, he was on the Wizards. Yeah, but but watching Space Jam, I think that just set another generation like with us to just have the reverence for Jordan, and you hear so much. And I was going to ask you which of the two was better, but it's all good.
I'll be honest, I don't even need to see Space Jam 2 to know it's Space Jam 1. I mean, you got Bill Murray's in that, Larry Bird. I believe I can fly. Like, it's like, come on, like Space Jam 1 is a classic. I'll still see it on TV and keep it on.
Yeah. Right. It definitely had the better soundtrack and everything. It was good one. All right, who's the most overrated player in the NBA in your opinion?
Oh my gosh, right now?
Right now.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get super diplomatic here and not. How can I get around this question? Overrated. All right, I'll say it like this. Like, I think someone that kind of needs to show me more for how much attention he gets and how highly revered he is Anthony Davis. Like, I think he's amazing, but it's like there also is spurts where it's like he was on a team that didn't win ever. Then he came with LeBron and they won, but they won in the bubble. But then ever since they've been out, it's like, if you're talking about, if you're being held to a standard where if you have KD on a team, they're going to win at least 50 games. If you have LeBron, if you have guys that just automatically let you win, it's like, I don't know if Anthony Davis is that, but like, I'm sure if you ask the average like if you took a poll and said, is Anthony Davis a top 5 player? Like, I bet I would say like 40% of people would say yes. And it's like, I don't know. I'm like, but like, if you're really talking about like, hey, I want to win a championship, are you taking Anthony Davis? Are you taking Anthony Davis over Giannis? Are you taking Anthony Davis over Steph, over KD, Bron? Who else? You know, I don't know. So that's what I'll say. I'm not saying he's overrated. I always want a little more from AD.
Yeah, he played against Giannis the other day. You know, he didn't really show up. You know, people were like, man, where's AD right
Giannis
now?
went for almost 50 on AD. 50. That was ridiculous.
Went off.
I think the thing with AD is, I mean, like, especially like New Orleans, like we saw him just like being a monster, like, but he couldn't win. Like you said, it's not like you can't build. He's not I'm not gonna say he's not a franchise player, but he can't do it by himself. And I think another thing for him is just durability. He can't stay on the court. Yeah. It's always something. It's always like a knee or ankle or
And I think it's like, hey, like, does he need, like, I feel like it's okay when players need the right pieces. That's what I was even saying at the beginning with Melo. Like, was it so bad that Melo needed better pieces? People just expect, hey, you're great. We'll just throw anyone around you. Let's win a championship. Like, you can't do that. But I think AD's a similar way. Like, hey, if he maybe leaves the Lakers one day, get good pieces around him, and I think he could win a championship. But right now, it's from like, I don't know. I want to see that.
Right. And I feel like going along with that, he was named the top 75 player. You know, NBA did it 75 anniversary team. I personally think he deserved that spot. You know, especially over like Dwight Howard, who was kind of more proven.
Clay.
You know, and AD, he literally only had one. He wasn't Finals MVP or anything. Yeah. He doesn't even have an MVP. Like,
that's right.
Like, I don't know why he was on that list. I really don't know. Him.
I told you, people love
Damian Lillard. You know,
absolutely.
I think it's more some recency bias in that, and I wish they reevaluated that because there are some players that could have really deserved that spot, and who knows, their career is probably not long enough either. I mean, I don't know. Like, it could be a couple years down the line where AD's not, you know, but he's still part of that squad though.
Right. So I mean, I agree, and forever it'll be like, hey, that's top 75. His name will be there. I mean, you look at someone like Kevin Love. Like, Kevin Love put up monster numbers for some years there, and at this point, it's like, where is Kevin Love? Like, you know, if you, you know, like, I think if 8 years ago, people probably were putting Kevin Love in the top 10 of the, you know, like, oh, like, yeah, I think he's a top 10 player. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you know, monster numbers on a team that doesn't win. It's like, I don't know where that really puts you. So I don't know, I guess AD, but I mean, he's still generational talent, you know?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Zay?
I think I have just two questions. So during your college career, who was the toughest player, like the biggest name player that you ever faced?
Yeah, I mean, Kemba, when we were junior, Kemba, he's a New York City guy, so he also was around. He was really good friends with one of my college teammates, Jordan Theodore. So, you know, playing him, he saw him around also too off season. I'll say Kemba, you know, he was probably the biggest.
Yeah, cardiac Kemba. Everybody remembers that shot.
Yeah, and Jimmy Walker too. Jimmy Butler. I said Jimmy.
Okay.
Butler. Yeah. Jimmy Walker. Jimmy Butler. Yeah. Yeah. He was on Marquette. We played him.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I guess. Well, my second question is really three questions, but it's two-parter. We'll put it that way. So you're a Knicks fan.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite all-time, or in your opinion, the best Knicks roster ever?
All right, so like growing up also with Knicks, okay, like being a Knicks fan, they won 2 championships in 1969 and 1973, and like that era, people like adore. It's like they're like legendary. It's like Walt Frazier, Phil Jackson was on those teams, Dave DeBusschere, all these just like names, and like
Willis Reed.
Willis Reed. And people, oh yeah, like, you know, like these guys, like in Knicks era, like that's like the roster. Those years, those late '60s, early '70s Knicks. I mean, just like in Knicks history, that's what everyone like loves. And it's like, it's like, dads being like, oh no, the best player could ever is Clyde Drexler, try Clyde Frazier. Clyde Drexler, I'm losing my mind right now. Clyde Frazier, like Walt Frazier. Oh my gosh, Walt Frazier. People love that. So like, do I think talent-wise that's the best roster? I don't know. I think those mid-90s Knicks, that's also like legendaries. John Starks, Patrick Ewing, Ron Harper. Yeah, I would say those that year.
Nice. So my last part of this question is, you're from New Jersey, but you are a Knicks fan. Mm-hmm. When you take that roster of the Knicks versus the 2000s Jason Kidd going to the finals Nets, who will win in that matchup?
So the mid 90s Knicks versus the early 2000s Nets. Oh my gosh.
The Battle of Jersey / New York.
Yeah, I know. The Hudson River battle. I don't know. Those Nets teams were good with J. Kidd. Like they were Richard Jefferson, Kenyon Martin.
Yeah.
They were good. Like I'll mix it up. I'll say those Nets teams. I think J. Kidd in that time, he was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say those early 2000 Nets would win in a series.
I'm kind of shocked. I thought you would say definitely Patrick Ewing, shooting their range.
I'm mixing it up. I'm feeling like super hot takes. I'm just like, let's do some hot takes here. I said AD is overrated. Let's just do some hot takes here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh man. Okay. Dope, man. Cute.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I think that's about it. Because I feel like we already know your favorite player is LeBron, right?
Yeah, I would say over my career, LeBron. Yeah, my career, my life. Yeah,
but is there any player you think is underrated in your opinion, who doesn't get as much recognition, but you think should?
I mean, the first one that just popped in my head was Klay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Klay Thompson, he's kind of, I guess, always never been the guy. That Steph or Katie or someone, and Draymond's pretty loud. So like, Klay can just kind of walk along. But like Klay, I mean, can anyone light it up as quickly as Klay? I mean, like that guy will just like in the blink of an eye have 4 threes and then just go sit down. He never looks like he sweats. And you're like, this guy like never sweating. Like, so I think Klay, now could he do it by himself? I don't know. But, and he's a great defender. I think Klay is someone that just like is so extremely talented and just like matters so much to winning. Klay, I'll say.
Solid answer. I agree. Klay, he can get, the dude had what, 30? I don't even remember the record.
37.
In a quarter.
Yeah.
Quarter.
Like 37 and a quarter.
Yeah. Cool.
I don't think people understand like the magnitude of points that is for a quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like when you just, like figure out how much time of possession do we have even the ball in a quarter? Like 6 minutes. Of those 6 minutes, it's like, it's crazy when you think about it. Like you start digging in, you're like, how did he even get, like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Right. Teams barely even get to 30 a quarter,
Yeah.
This is really rare. It's just, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Klay is definitely underrated. And him being out of the league for about 2 years now through the injury, I'm sure probably died down a lot of the talk. But he probably potentially could have made a list if he was like still healthy and going,
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's probably, you're right. It's actually an interesting answer because he hasn't really played in a while. So I guess I'm still on my like, Klay's underrated train, even though he hasn't played in like 2 seasons.
Yeah, I feel like if he was, he'll probably be on that top 75 list probably. Because the Warriors has been still doing well, I think. And who knows? Probably got another chip, you never know.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's crazy.
Definitely, man. Klay's a Warrior, and I'm glad to see that I've been seeing the videos of him training, so he'll be back. Everybody's questioning, like, is he going to be 80%, 85, 90? I think he'll be what they need because right now they're great. So
right. Right, which is a good spot for him. He can just kind of come in, play back into shape, get his reps in, and then like they'll probably still be winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So P, are you still following your team? Seton Hall?
Seton Hall, yeah. Yep. We had a big win against Michigan a couple days ago. Number 4 in the country on the road. Yeah, so the coach Kevin Willard, he's still there. This is now his like 12th season. So, you know, I still, you know, follow them a lot. So hopefully we're, you know, gonna have a big season. We'll see what happens come March time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I actually looked up Sports Illustrated like before the season started, the college rankings. I had to rep USM today. Southern Miss, shout out to marketing for this team. Market.
Yeah.
Southern Miss to the top always. But I looked at like not the top, but the college rankings of all teams. Seton Hall came into the season ranked at 28, I think. Guess what USM's was, Q?
They're somewhere way down the list.
215.
So we're not good. We're not that good.
we're small. Like our like 6'6" guard at Seton Hall would be like our center. So
yeah.
It's all good.
Oh man.
Shout out to Southern Miss. They're gonna have
shout out Southern Miss. Anything can happen in March.
Right?
Good point.
Shout out to Seton Hall, man.
For sure.
I'm definitely gonna try to get back into college hoop this year. It's been kind of difficult the past couple of years, but I want to really like get into it. I got ESPN Plus. I'm gonna be watching a lot of games.
Right on. I love it.
Oh, that brought me to another question real quick for you. P, what do you think about the NCAA finally switching and giving players like autonomy to finally like make a money out their name and things like that, and to have their own brand? What do you think about that now? Because I know that was really a thing for a long time.
Yeah. I think that like, you know, I think the best part is that they can't be punished for making some money off their name, because like that was always crazy where it's like, you know, they would get in trouble for signing something, someone give them $75 and they would get, and the teams and would get punished. That's so crazy. You know what I mean? Right. It's like to think that like no one's going around, if you're a really good biology student and, you know, and you're on a school trip and someone gives you $200 for dinner, no one makes a peep about it. But at the NCAA, it's like, oh, this is a big deal. Oh, the sanctity of the game. It's like, what? Like, the NCAA's guys are millionaires, like Mark Emmett. So I think it's good. I think it'll probably iron out, like how it will play out, like iron out in terms of like, you know, how much are guys actually able to capitalize that when they're playing. But I think it's cool. I think I'll be excited to see where that leads to. You know, something like a podcast. I think that's great for some guy to be able to have a podcast, some guy or gal, you know, have a podcast, make a couple dollars off it while you're in college. I mean, you know, I graduated and then it's done. And then it's like, because I had no earning potential after I was gone because I wasn't good enough to go play in the NBA. So it's like, it's cool to then maybe like develop that, earning potential, have the opportunities while you still have the heat on you, you know?
Good point.
Yeah. So I think it's cool.
Yeah. At least another question about the what do you think about the G League now as well as being like first traditionally it'd be high school, college, then NBA, but now the NBA is created where a space where you can go from high school into their league, get an early league start.
Yeah.
Examples of Jalen Green, I think. He played for one of their teams and he's doing phenomenal right now.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the NBA like owes it to themselves and their players to be able to like have space for development. You know, the NBA wants guys young to be able to develop while they're in the league. So by the time they're 23, 24, they're all-stars. When can they start that process either 1 year out of college or a couple years in the G League? I think it's great then to also not have guys make decisions to go play in Europe because you can make more money, but be able to have some money, make some money while you're in the G League and develop and then still chase your dream. And also the NBA guys can have input on the skills development. So I think it's like really smart for the NBA to just be like really investing financially and like energy and time into player development through the G League.
Yeah, I feel like they played a role with the NCAA eventually overturn it is, viewpoint on not punishing players for, their brand. I feel like if they deleted that, they put pressure on them. Like, okay, all these players gonna go over here. If we want to make sure we can still get some players into NCAA,
right,
and to promote their brand. So,
yeah,
I really want to get your take on it because you have a unique experience as well. So,
yeah, it's 10 years too late for me. You know what I mean? That would have been nice when I was playing. Maybe could have made a couple dollars, but that's all right. My life is good.
I feel like you would have sold millions of Hammer t-shirts,
Hammer shirts, and all those things, man.
Yeah, man. I already got the pitch. It's like, hey, man, is your summer project falling apart? Buy this DeWalt tool set and hammer home that deck you've been trying to build. Like, I already got it. It's perfect. I could have been a DeWalt executive by now. Black and Hammer.
Right.
Like,
oh, that's perfect, man.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean? But it's good. I am blessed. Thank you, God. My life is good. So I had a great experience and on to other things. That's all right.
That's awesome, man. And you also have podcasts yourself, right?
Yeah, I got a podcast called What's the Dill? Check it out. Started during the pandemic, just talking about life and, things, my kind of journey, kind of a lifestyle podcast. Not a ton of hoops talk, but check it out if you guys are interested.
Yeah, y'all really enjoyed our guest today. Please go check that out. Please do. And Pete, thanks again for being here. We appreciate you. Great conversation, man. Thanks for sharing. Really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, Q. Sorry, thanks.
Oh, no, thank you, man. I love talking about hoops and just good vibes in general. You give off that good energy, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, Zay, Q, I appreciate it, man. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me on. This was great. Love chatting with you guys about all this stuff.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. And remember, check out Pete's podcast. What's the Deal? Right? I'm sure it's available on all podcast platforms, right?
Yep.
Yeah, continue to check out our podcast as well, Swish Masters Podcast on all podcast platforms. Also check out our YouTube as well. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate you. I'm co-host Q the Guru signing off.
I'm being called Zay, the executive producer. We'll see y'all next time.
See you guys.
Oh.